What if a simple night out turned into the last time you were ever seen? Lauren Spierer's disappearance in 2011 left an entire community grasping for answers. As we unravel the events that led up to her vanishing, we confront haunting questions about safety, trust, and what really happened that fateful night. Welcome back to Chilling Fireside Stories, where I shine a light on true crime cases and unsolved mysteries. Today's story covers the mysterious disappearance of Lauren Spierer, a college student whose night out ended in tragedy and raised serious questions that still linger. Before we begin, a gentle reminder that the content of this story is sensitive and may be unsettling to some viewers. As always, I leave the images related to the case at the end of the video. Also, for those of you who want to dig even deeper into Lauren Spierer's story, there's a book by Shawn Cohen called College Girl Missing that covers her case in detail. You can find the link to his book in the description if you're interested in exploring this case further. Now grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's begin. Lauren Spierer was born on January 17, 1991 in Scarsdale, New York, and was known for her vibrant personality and boundless energy. She was deeply connected with her family and friends, even while away at college. Lauren was a fashion merchandising major at Indiana University, with dreams of making her mark in the fashion industry. Her parents, Charlene and Robert, often spoke about her kindness and her ability to connect with others. On the warm evening of June 2, 2011, Bloomington, Indiana, was alive with the usual hum of college life. Indiana University's students filled the popular bars and streets, reveling in the night. Lauren was out that night with a group of friends, including some new acquaintances she had met recently. They spent hours moving between bars, laughing and chatting as many young people do. Yet, as the clock neared 2 a.m., a series of events began to transpire that would later be pieced together as a tragic puzzle. Lauren and her friends were at Kilroy's Sports Bar, a popular spot for students, where she was seen socializing and drinking. As the night wore on, Lauren made an unexpected decision. She left Kilroy's Sports Bar without her shoes, possibly due to a sandy area on the premises. But she also left her cell phone. This detail would later become one of the many perplexing clues in the investigation. Lauren's behavior raised eyebrows among her friends. She seemed more intoxicated than usual, and her decision to leave behind her belongings was out of character. Witnesses recall seeing her stumbling and struggling to maintain her balance. Despite this, her friends assumed she would eventually return to retrieve her items. She exited the bar with her friend Corey Rossman around 2:30 a.m. on June 3rd, and they went back to her apartment complex, Smallwood Plaza. After Lauren and Corey returned to her apartment from the bar, they encountered a group of people in the hallway. There are differing accounts of exactly what happened, but reportedly, someone in that group confronted Corey about his behavior and a scuffle ensued. During this altercation, Corey was allegedly punched in the face, which left him visibly disoriented. After the incident, Lauren and Corey did not stay at Smallwood. Instead, they left for Corey's apartment at 5 North Townhomes. Around 3:30 a.m., Corey was escorted to bed by his roommate, Michael Beth, due to his intoxicated state. Corey's roommate, Michael Beth, later claimed that Corey was so intoxicated and shaken from the incident that he couldn't recall much of the night's events afterward. Lauren, however, decided to leave, declining Michael's offer to call a cab for her. At approximately 4:15 a.m., she was last seen on surveillance footage near 11th Street and College Avenue, walking barefoot and alone. She had left her keys and purse at her apartment, adding to the mystery. After that sighting, Lauren vanished without a trace. Her friends and family became concerned when she did not return or respond to messages. Her disappearance prompted an extensive search involving police, volunteers, and multiple agencies, but no concrete leads were found. The timeline of Lauren's disappearance is filled with contradictions and uncertainties. Friends who were with her that night provided varying accounts of her behavior and interactions. Some claimed she seemed disoriented and confused, while others insisted she was simply having a good time. The inconsistency in these statements added to the complexity of the investigation. On June 3, 2011, After not hearing from her and realizing she hadn't returned home, Jesse Wolfe, her boyfriend, became concerned and contacted her friends and roommates. When no one could locate her, he alerted Lauren's parents, who also immediately became involved. Later that day, both Jesse and Lauren's parents filed a missing persons report with the Bloomington Police Department. Lauren's family, in particular, quickly flew to Bloomington to assist with the search and media outreach, working closely with law enforcement in the initial days of her disappearance. When Lauren was reported missing the next day, the Bloomington Police Department launched an extensive investigation. They interviewed everyone who had seen Lauren that night, including Corey Rossman, Michael Beth, and Jay Rosenbaum, and others who had interacted with her. According to statements, Jay Rosenbaum, a friend of Lauren Spierer, played a critical role in the investigation into her disappearance, as he was the last known person to see her on the early morning of June 3, 2011. Lauren stopped by Jay's apartment shortly after leaving Corey Rossman's place in the same apartment complex. By this point, Lauren was reportedly barefoot, visibly intoxicated, and showing signs of injury, particularly on her feet. Jay told investigators that Lauren knocked on his door sometime after 4 a.m., seeking help or company. He allowed her inside and observed her condition, but ultimately claimed he couldn't persuade her to stay for her own safety. According to Jay, Lauren left his apartment alone, intending to walk back to her own apartment, located about 2 blocks away. This was the last time she was reportedly seen, and Jay's account of that moment became a focal point for police and media, as it represented the final interaction before her disappearance. Investigators combed through phone records, surveillance footage, and conducted searches throughout Bloomington, focusing particularly on the areas where she was last seen. A massive volunteer effort ensued, with friends, family, and strangers searching wooded areas, rivers, and abandoned properties in the hope of finding any trace of Lauren. Despite their efforts, no physical evidence was uncovered that could explain her whereabouts. The police faced a barrage of tips from the public, but many led to dead ends. Even a national media spotlight on the case didn't yield new leads. With every passing day, the hope of finding Lauren faded, and frustration mounted as her family searched for answers that remained elusive. As the search continued, theories surrounding Lauren's disappearance grew more complex. Many speculated that she may have encountered foul play, especially given her vulnerable state that night. One theory pointed to the men who were with her during her final hours. Some speculated that her friends may have known more than they were letting on, leading to heightened suspicion and intense scrutiny. In particular, Corey and Jay became focal points in the investigation due to their proximity to Lauren just before she vanished. Lauren Spierer had known Corey Rossman for only a short time before her disappearance. They were both students at Indiana University, but they didn't have a long-standing friendship. Corey was more closely connected to Lauren's friend group, particularly through her boyfriend Jesse Wolfe, who was not out with her that night. Their interactions on the night of her disappearance were largely social, linked by mutual acquaintances rather than a deep personal friendship. Corey and Lauren's shared friends knew each other through the close-knit college community, which is common on campuses where students connect at parties and local bars. However, Lauren's relationship with Corey seemed primarily situational, centered around their activities on the night of her disappearance rather than an ongoing friendship. On the other hand, Lauren Spierer and Jay Rosenbaum were acquaintances who had become friends through mutual connections at Indiana University. Jay was reportedly part of Lauren's social circle, often seen with other students she knew, including Corey Rossman and Michael Beth, whom she spent time with on the night she disappeared. While they weren't known to be particularly close or longtime friends, they were friendly enough for Lauren to feel comfortable visiting his apartment that night. Their interaction on the night of her disappearance showed Jay's role as a somewhat supportive presence. He observed that she was visibly intoxicated and barefoot, and he allowed her to rest briefly before she left his apartment. Jay later stated that he wished he had been able to prevent her from leaving alone, suggesting a sense of regret and concern for her safety. Both men maintained that they were innocent and had cooperated fully with police. A second theory suggested that Lauren may have been a victim of an opportunistic predator who saw her walking alone in a vulnerable state. Given Bloomington's mix of locals, students, and transient visitors, it was possible that an unknown individual could have taken advantage of the situation. Lastly, another theory suggested that Lauren might have had an accident, perhaps falling into a nearby body of water or becoming incapacitated in a remote location. This idea, though compelling, lacked evidence. To this day, these theories leave more questions than answers. Lauren's parents, Charlene and Robert Spierer, have dedicated their lives to finding answers about what happened to their daughter. Their pleas to the public and media appearances kept Lauren's story in the national spotlight, refusing to let her memory fade into obscurity. Their unwavering resolve has been both heartbreaking and inspiring, as they continue to seek the truth despite countless setbacks. The Spierers filed a civil lawsuit against Corey and Jay, hoping it would compel them to reveal more information. Though the lawsuit was eventually dismissed, the legal battle underscored the family's determination. Charlene and Robert frequently updated the public about the investigation, openly discussing their frustrations and highlighting the limitations they face due to conflicting accounts and lack of physical evidence. The Spierers have also used their platform to advocate for missing persons and to support legislation that strengthens resources for families facing similar situations. Their journey reflects a heartbreaking yet relentless pursuit of justice, a testament to their love for Lauren. Today, over a decade later, Lauren Spierer's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing missing person cases in Indiana. Despite years of effort, no definitive answers have been found, and her family continues to grapple with the unknown. Remember to follow my safety tips to help ensure your well-being in similar situations. In the wake of Lauren Spierer's disappearance, it's essential to reflect on the importance of personal safety. Always let a friend or family member know where you're going, especially when heading out alone or to unfamiliar places. If possible, stay in groups and keep in touch with trusted individuals during nights out. When using rideshare services, verify driver details and check the vehicle's license plate before getting in. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to remove yourself from the situation or seek help immediately. Carrying a phone with emergency contacts ready and knowing the locations of safe public spaces can also make a big difference in a vulnerable situation. For students and young adults, always be mindful of who you're with and how well you know them. Taking these small steps could help prevent future tragedies. If Lauren's story moves you, please consider sharing this video to raise awareness and support missing persons foundations. You can find the links in the description. Together, we can honor her memory by keeping her story alive and remembering the lessons that her disappearance has taught us. Thank you for watching and following Lauren's story with me. This case is still so full of unanswered questions, and I'd love to hear what you think. Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with my next deep dives into the mysteries that continue to intrigue us all. In the meantime, stay curious, stay warm, and stay safe.